Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. Today I got a super fun and exciting episode for you guys today because we're going to be going over the Xbox 360 bat update one more time. Maybe 5 or 6 months ago, I did some videos on the Hypervisor exploit showing how you could run unsigned code on an unmodified Xbox 360. And I sent Andy D a cat pen and made him shoot one of his worst looking 360s around because I think Andy D owns more Xboxes than I actually own cat pens. But the good news is bat update has been updated. That's a lot of updates in one sentence as of a few days ago, bringing in a much more streamlined process to be able to use this on your Xbox 360, including Winchester models now. And that is just absolutely exciting because I know a lot of people out there might want to go ahead and modify something like their actual 360, but some people just want that software solution so they don't have to actually go in and start soldering chips in. So this is definitely something to look forward to in the future. Before we get too far involved, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined to want to support the channel, got a Patreon link down below as well. And just so you know, all the footage in this video has been captured off a real Xbox 360, utilizing the bat update process to be able to run whatever you want. And that's going to be great, not just from the preservation standpoint of keeping your disk drive not running as much, but also a lot of those delisted games that are no longer available, you're going to be able to play them on the 360. So if you think of every single amazing game on that online store, I'd say a good handful of them now cannot be purchased in any way, shape, or form. This is going to allow you to be able to enjoy those without actually going in and trying to modify your Xbox internally. Now, if we take a look at the bat update page, you're going to get a lot of information and you're going to get an entire tutorial on how to actually make this work as well. And I will go over that in just a moment, but honestly, it's one of those things you just have to realize, read the directions. This is not going to be a tutorial, but if you can copy some files over to a USB stick, you're going to be totally fine to be able to actually play these as well. And the nice thing is the guide is comprehensive, but last time we talked about bat update, it was a situation in which it just didn't really run all that fast. And you'll see here, even at the bottom of the GitHub page, which hasn't been technically updated yet, you're going to see the exploit has a 30% success rate and can take up to 20 minutes to actually trigger successfully. Well, the good thing is the new version of this is completely different, and now it's basically going to be a 100% guarantee that you're going to be able to exploit your Xbox 360, and it's not going to take upwards to 20 minutes, because let's take a look at the last time we actually tried this on the channel, and it was one of those things. It took an absolute amount of time to get this thing actually running. You would have to reset your console and basically hope for some luck, and it could take up to 20 minutes. So on this, 56 minutes later of attempts, it was finally exploitable and you can actually run your own code. And I had so many comments in those videos basically saying, what's the point of this? It's useless, and even yelling at me saying that I was hyping something up that wasn't really going to be that big of a deal. And I told those commenters, you just have to wait and see. Sure, it took about 20 minutes and multiple attempts back then, but I said in time it will mature, and I bet that'll get to a stage in which it's basically a free exploit that'll be under maybe like 4 or 5 minutes. Well, I was wrong in that respect. It is not under 4 to 5 minutes. Now, even though it is something that is going to work every single time, it is now under a minute. I tried this on some of my own hardware and it took all of 52 seconds for it actually to be able to run bat update and get you into the actual dashboard. So that's definitely what I said in videos. You're going to see a situation in which the developers of this basically refine their code as well as their processes to get that code injected into the hypervisor, and you're going to end up living in a world where it takes maybe a minute or two to be able to do everything. That is exactly what is happening now. If you run this now with the 1.2 update, you're talking maybe at the worst 2 minutes, but honestly, I've seen so many results that just hit under 60 seconds. And it's time for the first soundtrack sample. Why? Just because I can make you listen to Tony USA one more time. 45 seconds, and I'll come back, talk more about the exploit, and show you some games running on it. But enjoy. mean, honestly, there really isn't any reason for me to make you listen to the soundtrack of Daytona USA because this is just code running natively on an Xbox 360 just via bad update. But anytime I can get that music stuck in your head like it's stuck in my head, I'm going to do that. And obviously, some of the games on 360 were quite a vibe for a very specific audience, and there was kind of a generation in which games like this just existed. And honestly, it is fun just to go back in because the 360 really was when HD came home, and I absolutely love the console and have a ton of games for it. But it is one of those things between the DVD read speeds and between the fact that a lot of the games on the online store are just completely gone now and have never been re-released anywhere else. This really is a big push in the direction of preservation. Sure, could you run something on it that you don't technically own? Of course you could. I'm under no illusions that that's what a lot of people do. But for me personally, having games and wanting to play them, I want to play them however I would like. And again, I'm not so sure why people were pessimistic when this first came out. Sure, it took upwards to 20 minutes and multiple attempts to actually get the exploit to take, and yes, it is non-persistent. Every single time you turn off your 360, it is going to purge that code and you're going to have to run the exploit again. But now that it's under a minute with basically a 100% guaranteed success rate, honestly, you just basically go into the other room, grab yourself a glass of water or a beer. By the time you come back, you'll 100% be ready to run whatever games you want on your 360, and that is absolutely amazing. And again, a lot of those 360s out there can still execute code and run, but they have issues with the actual DVD-ROM drive and can be problematic in actually reading discs. So even if you have a massive collection, this is still going to be awesome because without taking out the soldering iron or playing around with any mod chips, you can run whatever you want on your 360. And I always knew this would happen. Every single time something like this comes out and people say it takes too long, it's not reliable enough, within like 5 to 6 months, sometimes maybe even a year at the long end, it gets patched up, it gets fixed up, and suddenly what you thought was going to take 20 minutes can take under 20 seconds if you get really lucky. And games like Virtual On that were available on the 360, just amazing to play this way, and they do really keep these games alive, and that's why I'm mostly excited about this. You can just take your stock 360, it doesn't matter what model it is now, and as long as you're on the right dashboard version, which is listed in the GitHub note, you're going to be able to do this and play whatever you want, because there's great releases of like Third Strike here on the 360 that are hard to play other places. Sure, Capcom has done some collections, but these versions are still awesome and still 100% worth playing. And again, just to remind you, all of the footage you're seeing here was captured off a real Xbox 360 running bad update. Big thanks to Andy D for doing all of that, because like I said, I sent him a cat pen and he owed me some work for that. And if you ever want a cat pen, you'll have to do something very special in the comments, because I do have a metric crap ton of them. I could be giving them away one a week for probably like 6 months, and I still have a bunch in a box. That's just because people love to send me cat pens in other boxes that they send. But again, this is just so much fun, and now with that improved speed, it just is going to work with anyone. And again, all you need is a copy of 1 or 2 specific games, as well as a USB stick to upload the exploit to. You plug it in, you run it, the exploit is just going to do what it does, and then within a minute or two, you're going to completely open up your 360 to whatever you want to do with that, however you want to do that. That is always the great part. The community keeps giving these fun new mods and exploits so you can just have easier and more fun with your 360. But it's soundtrack sample 2 time, just because Guilty Gear also an incredible soundtrack. 45 seconds and I'll be right back with just a bit more.
Heaven or hell? Duo. 1, let's rock!
Incredible game and incredible soundtrack, or stuff like Scott Pilgrim here, a game that's just going to be amazing on the 360 but can be a little bit more difficult to play if you didn't buy it back in the day. And the nice thing about Bad Update is, as far as the difficulty to mod is concerned, 10 being something like having to do some very fine pitch soldering on chips on board, and 1 being basically free, I would say this is like a 3. So long as you acquire the right files, you plug them into a USB stick with the right formatting, and you plug them into your Xbox 360, this is going to work for you. And I always like mods that come with with a much easier on-ramp when it comes to the difficulty, because not everyone wants to actually solder in chips to their hardware, and not everyone wants to spend the money to send them out to professional modders, even though it is worth it. So this is something great because it allows way more people to be able to be successful than ever before, and now for the fact that it gets done in under like a minute on average, it means that you're not really waiting around, because I totally get you don't want to wait 20 minutes and 3 attempts to try to exploit your Xbox 360, but waiting up to 2 minutes, that's totally fine. Leave me a comment down below and tell me, have you run Bat Update before? Are you planning on updating it now that you have a much faster version? That's a lot of usage of the word update in a video, but I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to keep killing some zombies, and I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye.